Hi, everyone. My name's Amanda Hunter. I'm Vice President of Communications at the Women's Suffrage National Monument Foundation. Thank you so much for having me with you all here today. While we may not be gathered in the shadow of the Capitol Dome, the spirit of what we are building together truly transcends any city. This monument has been carried along by a vision shared by the GFWC. Just as the suffragists relied on women's groups to provide the steady, early support that sustained their movement, we have relied on all of you. By buying in early, you became a visionary partner that helped keep us moving when we needed it the most. Let's all take a journey together. For a moment, please close your eyes. Imagine that we are on the National Mall, maybe on a beautiful spring day. You can see the cherry blossoms in the background, feel the sun on your face. You see the iconic Washington Monument piercing the sky. You see the serene Lincoln Memorial. The mall is where we go as Americans to remember who we are as a country. And when you scan the horizon of our national memory, you notice a void. Because of the 40 monuments on the National Mall, not a single one is dedicated to women's history. The heart of our nation has been silent on the profound sacrifices made by the women who built and sustained this country. We know that history is not just what happens in the halls of power. It is a tapestry woven in the homes, the schools, and the civic clubs of America. Clubs just like yours. We are building the first monument on the National Mall dedicated to American women's history, the Women's Suffrage National Monument. This project is historic not just for what it represents, but for how it is being born. For over 200 years, monuments on the National Mall have been designed behind closed doors and by small committees, and we are breaking that mold. As we approach America's 250th anniversary, we launched Monumental Ideas. This is a groundbreaking campaign where, for the first time in the history of our nation's front yard, we are inviting the American people to help us shape the vision of a national monument at the start of a process. Never before has the public been asked to provide the spark for a monument on the National Mall. We are centering women's history by ensuring the design reflects the collective heart and the real stories of the people it honors. This invitation to the public is only possible because we know the power of women's collective voices, and nobody understands that power better than the GFWC. To understand why GFWC belongs at the heart of this project, let's take a look at your history. You have never been an organization that waits for permission. When the nation was still struggling to define public education, you were fearless. You built nearly 3/4 of the nation's public libraries. When child labor was standard and clean water was a luxury, you stood on the front lines. You have always played the long game of service. You look 50 or 100 years into the horizon. You tackle reforms that were difficult because you've known that they're necessary for a healthy democracy. In June of 1914, your predecessors gathered in Chicago and took a historic vote to endorse women's suffrage. It was a seismic shift. It moved the cause of suffrage from the streets of protest to the center of American life. You provided the moral authority that helped change the mind of a nation. You were the tipping point then, and your clubs remain an important engine of civic life today. This is how we complete the geometry of our National Mall. On one end of the mall, you have the Washington Monument, representing the birth of the Republic. On the other, the Lincoln Memorial, representing the preservation of our Union. Between them lies a gap, a missing piece of our foundational story. By securing our place in Constitution Gardens at 19th Street and Constitution Avenue Northwest, and using this window of time to gather monumental ideas from families, from children, and of course, women like you across the country, We are finally balancing the scales. We're ensuring that women's history is no longer a side chapter in our nation's capital, but a permanent, poetic feature of our national landscape. The suffragists had an unbreakable network of determined women who carried their cause across the finish line. And today, we are asking you to help us expand our network of committed women once again. Please submit your monumental ideas. Gather your family, your loved ones, go to our website, and help us set the vision for this historic monument as we head toward America's 250th. Sign up for our newsletter if you haven't already, and follow our progress in real time. And follow us on social media. Share our mission with your friends, your families, and your own networks to show the world that women's history is American history. And now imagine a morning about 10 years from now. Imagine your granddaughters walking through Constitution Gardens. They will see a monument that wasn't just handed down to them, but one that their grandmothers helped spark. They will see the persistence, the grit, and the grace that defined the suffrage movement, the very same qualities they see in you. They will take pride in knowing that you, their grandmother, were one of the leaders who helped ensure that this story was told. We are building this for the girls who are watching us today and for the nation that we all love. Thank you so much.